Our legacy isn't how many commas we have in our bank account. It's who we're lucky enough to have in our lives and what we can leave them with.
Henry, remind me again why we can't put you in a gifted school.
Because it's better for my psychosocial development for me to interact with a peer group in a normal school environment.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Judging It by Its Cover, a new pilot for a new show I came up with. Basically, the premise is I'm going to have 4 people, or however many people I happen to have, 4 people in this case. We're all going to not see a movie and then talk about it and then see the movie after. The only requirement is only I'm allowed to know anything about the movie, and everyone has to try to guess what the movie is about, and probably will be blindsided by the actual premise. So I'm your host, Sly. My first guest is Ryan. Say hello.
Hello.
My other guest is Phil.
Hi.
Krista.
Hello.
And Kevin.
Hello.
So, do any of you know the movie we're doing today? Because I know a lot of you say you forgot already.
Yeah, no, literally most messages get deleted, so it's gone.
I believe it is the Book of Henry.
The Book of Mormon. Book of Eli?
Oh, it's about Joseph Smith. He was a prophet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Phil is right. It's the book. No, Phil's wrong. It was Ryan who's right. It's the Book of Henry, not the Book of Mormon. Just based on the title, let's go person by person. Krista, what would you think the Book of Henry would be about based on the title?
The Book of Henry is about a dog who writes a diary.
Why a dog?
I don't know, Henry. I just picture like a chocolate lab sitting there. He's like, "Hello, my name is Henry."
Kevin, what do you imagine?
I'm thinking like Shawshank Redemption type deal, where like some guy's like writing about like a terrible part of his life, I guess, like not per se breaking out of prison, but like some sort of life event.
Interesting. Phil, what do you imagine?
I'm trying to imagine something really messed up because I'm like, wow.
You don't have to imagine anything messed up, just like your first impression of like based on the title.
Honestly, I have no idea because I only can think of Book of Mormon and Book of Eli. both of which I don't know what they're about. So I'm like, could be anything really.
Well, you might know Morgan Freeman's in it, I guess. Yeah, he's in not Morgan Freeman. Denzel Washington. I'm racist, sorry. But Ryan, what do you imagine?
I feel like it's a biopic of Henry VIII.
I see that. I like this. We got 3 ideas and one who
Henry
has no
VIII
ideas.
as a dog.
Yeah, we're gonna merge all 4 ideas into one thing. So I posted posters for this movie in our chat. I'll have you each describe each cover one by one. So Krista, can you describe the first cover I posted?
All right, so the first one. Okay, here we go.
All right. So first of all, it's not a dog.
All right, debatable.
It's a kid with an old school piloting cap. It looks like, kind of steampunk glasses and or goggles, not glasses, with a poofy coat on to keep him warm, probably while he's flying.
So what does this make you think the movie's about now?
The dog.
Not a dog.
Not a dog.
Probably about like one of those propeller planes, and it looks like a young kid, so it's probably like a kid who successfully journeys on his own, maybe on a helicopter plane kind of a thing.
What kind of tone you imagine? You imagine like a Oscar Beatty tone, a whimsical, like adventure tone, like Steven Spielberg. I guess. What do you imagine?
I kind of like survival.
Survival, interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. So number 2, Kevin, can you describe the second poster?
The second poster. Oh crap! I look at that now. All right, going down the list. This one is much more colorful. We are once again sporting the boy with the weird hat, and this time he has people inside of his head. Probably not a good thing. All right, so I'm sticking with my guns here that this is some sort of life-changing thing. This kid's definitely an inventor, possibly not the best inventor, and it's his journey to try to prove that he can. That's what I'm going with. Oh, hold on, there's a thing up top. Never leave things undone. Oh, yeah. This kid wants to do stuff. I don't know if he'll be able to, but he definitely wants to.
Interesting. All right, so Phil, can you describe the third poster?
Yeah, now it's like Goodwill Hunting, where they're just both looking at a chalkboard with blueprints of some kind of flying machine. So maybe the kid pilot is not flying a plane. He's flying like it has wing. Like, I mean, I know planes have wings, but they're like bird-like wings. Also, we see Never Leave Things Undone again. So maybe he has to build a machine to go somewhere, or this could have time travel, I guess. These are pretty weird glasses.
Interesting. Time traveling. You see, we're getting to all these different genres. I'm liking this.
And he has to go, like, I think like Kevin said, he has to go on some kind of journey, because you can't leave things undone, you know?
Yeah. All right, Ryan, what's the last one? The most different one at all?
So the
man.
last one
Whoa.
is pictures of like the family. It looks like two boys from the previous poster and their mom, and there is a picture of a girl taped next to them, and it's on a red book with the flying machine and "Never Leave Things Undone," which is the worst tagline ever. And I did also notice that it's either produced or something by Focus Features that did like Eternal Sunshine and Lost in Translation. So
Yeah,
it's
we're talking about the cast.
probably a weird movie. But I'm going to say that based on this book with the picture is that some young girl designed a flying machine and died, and then her brothers found the book and want to build it.
Or
Interesting.
Or the brother needs to go through to another dimension and become his sister, the girl.
Or that. Also,
This is
Sarah
valid, this is
Silverman and
valid.
Naomi Watts are in this movie?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the cast. So, like, the cast is Naomi Watts.
I don't know any actors or actresses, by the way. I don't know who
I don't
these people
either.
are.
I'm so glad it's not just me.
Yeah, so I
I don't either, but luckily their names are listed.
Well, obviously, but I can't put a face to their name.
There are some people you know, and I'll go with the people that like you probably do know. First, we'll talk about the director, Colin Trevorrow. He directed Jurassic World. I know Phil and Ryan did not see that, but Kevin and Krista did, and I think you liked it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So, like, what does that change your perception of what the movie's about, knowing that Colin Trevorrow, this was his follow-up to Jurassic World?
No, but it makes me think that all the eyes are going to be super blue.
Alright.
Yeah, we'll be able to tell the important characters by how pretty their eyes are.
Yeah.
Good.
That is a Colin Trevorrow trait. And Ryan, you know Greg Hurwitz, the writer of this film. What does that make you think? How do you know Greg Hurwitz, and what does that make you think of this movie?
He wrote some Batman books that I like a lot, but they're like super grim dark and violent and like all deal with childhood trauma. So definitely I think that kid's dead. I'm like pretty sure that she dies like pretty aggressively.
I actually, now looking at these names, I do know Lee Pace. He was in Pushing Daisies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that too because I'm currently on his Wikipedia page.
You should also, you might not know Dear Norris by name, but he was the police officer in Breaking Bad.
Oh.
Hank?
Yeah, Hank, that's his name. What do you think of Hank's role in this movie?
He's the villain.
He's the adult who tells all the kids, "You can't do this. It's impossible." It's just not
interesting.
it's just childhood dreams.
Don't go through time and become your sister.
Yeah.
And buried in this cast of all-stars is also Sarah Silverman. She's in this movie. Does that spark any imagination in your guy?
I have never heard her
No.
name said as Silverman like that.
Silverman.
She's a comedian, right?
Yeah.
So
she's
what
a
do you think his
comedian.
role is?
I mean, she's usually like pretty dirty, but she was really great in Wreck-It Ralph. So I don't know. She kind of can be all over the place.
For a second, I thought it's actually like literally dirty. Like she's usually like filthy. Like she
No,
doesn't
like
bathe regularly.
she's usually pretty
Foul-mouthed.
foul-mouthed. Yeah.
Dirty girl.
Well, this could be like Jim Carrey's will adventure into like very serious film where she's like, I'm a comedian, but I want to try this thing.
Which also makes sense if it's a focus feature film because they had, Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So before we get to the next part, which would involve us actually watching the film, I want to discuss some of the backlash to this film. So it has a 22% Rotten Tomatoes.
Very good, very good.
It only made $4 million theatrically. It came out this year, and I don't think any of you knew it came out. I didn't know it came out until I read about it.
I was convinced it was like 10 years old. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
And because of this film, the rumors are this film caused Colin Trevorrow was hired to be on Star Trek Episode 9, to be the director of the final...
Wait. What did you just say, Sly?
what was the episode
Do you mean
9?
Star Wars?
What did I say?
You said Star Trek.
Star Wars.
And I
sorry.
went with it. I'm like, I guess there's 9 Star Treks. I haven't seen them, so I'm just
I think there's 11 Star Treks or 12 at this point.
whatever.
Yeah, sorry. Star Wars Episode 9. Sorry, nerds, don't freak out.
I'm freaking out.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
So yeah, and because this movie, the rumors are that this movie is part of the reason why he was kicked off of Star Wars. So what does that make you think? Why is this movie so controversial?
It's not good.
Well, it probably tried to do. I mean, probably sticking with their guns of never leave things undone. They probably tried to do way too many things. They're probably going for like a serious life-changing event in this, poor kid's life where like a tragic event happened to him, and they're also trying to throw in fantasy. They're also trying to throw in like that old
comedy
man
with Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, like they were probably trying to throw in way too many elements and just the hodgepodge.
So you're trying to say you think that things should have been left more undone?
Yes, leave more things undone. That's like the goal here.
Leave some things undone.
Yeah.
I think this movie's probably really sexist because I remember when he got kicked off Star Wars, people were really happy about it. And they were like, maybe we could get a woman director. So I'm going to say that maybe that's why. Because Disney is like trying to be really progressive with the new Star Wars movies. And I maybe that's why.
That's why when he tries to become his sister, the moral of the story is don't ever be trans. And
yes, and that's why they were like, you can't have this on there.
I get
Like,
it.
we love being trans. That's like totally what we're all about now.
Yeah, they explicitly say, like, you're only changing this because it's a choice and it's not how you were born.
Exactly.
So based on what we've discussed, are you guys interested in seeing this movie? Are you excited, or do you think you're going to hate it and you don't want to see it at all?
I don't want to see it.
I don't care.
The thing is, I want to watch like a preview for it because I know most previews, especially for like Jurassic World, you can already tell everything that's going to happen from that. Also, because it's Jurassic World, and obviously the dinosaurs have to escape. Spoilers.
Good thing I wasn't paying attention.
I'd probably be able to judge the entire thing from that, but I will watch it just to see if I'm right because now I'm curious to see, my ego and all that.
I will say you were right, Kevin, because the reason why I picked this movie is because I heard it briefly mentioned by one of our fans of our other podcast, Divisive Issues and Talk Politics, Tracy. She mentioned it like, I'm glad Colin Trevor's off episode 9 because of this movie. And I looked it up and I saw a trailer and it basically lays out an entire film, which is why we're not watching the trailer. But if you were...
Judging by the trailer.
Krista, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts, I've watched a fair amount of terrible movies, and I'm pretty excited. I mean,
Okay,
what did
great.
you say, 22% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I'm excited.
It's worth noting it has a 60% by the audience, so maybe it's a movie that the critics hate but the fans love. Who knows?
Yeah. All
the sexist, woman-hating people in the audience.
Yeah, because we're all excited to see this little girl die.
Yeah. Oh. All right, so we're going to take a brief break, a several days break, where we all take our time to watch this film, and then we're going to reconvene and give our thoughts on the beast that this film actually is, and see how close we got.
The several days break is why this episode of this podcast is 60 hours long.
You have to follow along our days and watch us go to work. And
As we're sleeping, you get to hear our snoring and everything.
While we savor the Book of Henry.
Yeah.
I know what you've done. Henry documented all of it.
Who do you think they're gonna believe?
It can't be left undone.
Welcome back. We're back after almost a month break, I think. But
no, we just finished it. We just came out of the theater together.
Yeah,
we all saw it in theater. We came back in the theater just for our special showing. We all saw it, and now we're recording it fresh, and we don't need any reminders about what happened at all. And we don't need to divvy up the plot based on how much people remember at all, right?
That's not how this happened.
Yeah.
Wow, Sly, you're not peeking behind the curtain. You've torn the curtains down on this podcast.
All right, so as we talk about this movie, let's break it down into chunks. So first we'll talk about what the movie presents itself as. So what does it present itself as, Ryan?
Okay, so when you first start watching the movie, it's about like an 11-year-old boy genius who has a single mom and a little brother, and everyone in this movie is so cute. All these kids are so cute. And basically, like, his mom's a waitress, and she's also working on like some indie like coloring book stuff or whatever, like children's books. And this boy is so smart that he like has Rube Goldberg machines everywhere. He
basically like raises the mom because
yeah,
he raises himself and his younger brother. He's such a genius that the movie can't stop telling you every scene how he already knows everything.
Yeah,
he's like unbelievably genius, to be frank, because like he knows like about medicine when he talks to doctors.
Not only that, but he
knows...
also balances all of her finances.
Exactly, he's like a financial expert, medical expert.
He invests the family's money into different places, and he is the one making calls to different places, and the mom just basically works her diner job and
she doesn't have to. Yeah, he says like you don't have to work that job anymore.
Yeah.
I've invested our money so wisely that we're actually rich.
Yeah, why does she keep this job? I don't know. But he also has a big crush on their next door neighbor, Christina, and she's like really depressed lately. And I don't know. I don't get why he's in school, but whatever.
Yeah, it seems like he would be in college.
Yeah. I'd like to think that this is the inspiration for Young Sheldon, the hit new TV series.
It does feel like that.
But basically, throughout the first, half of the movie, it's just like the boy doing lots of, like, he's setting up plans for things we don't know about. He suspects, and then it's explicitly shown to him that they're, like, I think he's the commissioner or like a captain. Somebody high in the local police department is Christina's stepdad, and he abuses her. He's the local police commissioner. So he's trying to like save her from this. So he calls
and I feel like that even that was a pretty big shift in the tone, because the beginning of the movie, it just seems like kind of a cutesy story, and then the mom is talking to the next door neighbor, the police commissioner guy, and she's like, "Oh, how's it going?" Whatever, and then it's like the kid just suspects this whole time that this is going on, and to the point where he busts into the principal's office and he's like, "God damn it, Sherry, how long is this charade gonna go on?"
Yeah.
As if he's like a fucking cop going to the police chief saying, "Damn it, we know the KGB's crooked. We have to rush into their room right now." And she's like, "You're on a loose cannon, like a kid. You gotta go back to your post."
It really is like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's this fucking child, and I don't know the last time you talked to like an 11-year-old, but it's not how they talk.
Yeah. Oh, and also this kid's name is Henry, if people didn't gather.
Oh yeah.
Hence Book of Henry.
Yeah, that's his book. So all the stuff he does, he writes in this little red book. That's his
Mao's little.
Yeah, his guide to communism. And like we do see that I'm gonna shock everybody. I kind of really like the first half of this movie.
Oh.
And I know. I kind of really like, once I accepted the ridiculous premise that like he is running their lives as this 11-year-old, you see like his mom is like super like depressed and has her buddy Sarah Silverman over, and like they get super drunk, and like him and his brother just kind of have to like watch their mom be super self-destructive. And I don't know, I'm not going to say that I super relate to that, but there are elements of that I'm like, okay, I get that. And I think I'm just a big sucker for any like little brother relationship. Like it gets me really good.
I kind of liked the relationship too, but the in your face how much of a genius he is.
Yeah.
Like I can't stomach that. I don't know if it's because of books like Nemesis and stuff like that, but so over the top where he's just like, no, everything that needs to happen, I've already calculated 5 years ago when I was 6 years old. Like
That's what makes this movie so weird, is because I actually feel like the characters, for the most part, are like, I find them really emotionally engaging, and I really like their relationships, and like the way they interact together, I really, really like, except when they're like just dropping like, "I'm so smart that I've solved the whole world's budget," or like all these things, and it's like it's jarring. But I actually really like the characters in this movie, and
I also think the actors are really good.
The acting is, especially for a movie that focuses on kids.
Before we transition further, I just want to get Kevin and Chris's input so far. Do you agree with Ryan's analysis on the first chunk, or were you already turned off?
Well, it would have made a lot more sense to me if Henry was like maybe 15. Maybe then it would be a little bit more believable.
Very fair, yeah.
But because he's so young, And especially because he was right about Christina and how she was getting abused. Like, I just wanted him to be wrong about something. I just kept waiting for him to be wrong because he's 11. He can't know everything yet.
Krista wanted a little wise ass to finally get shown up after a while.
Yeah, and they don't actually show the abuse to the viewer. He's looking at it like from his window, and it seems pretty explicit. But I thought that's the way the plot was going. That like he's misinterpreting it because even though he's brilliant, he's also 11 and like doesn't fully understand social cues and how the world works.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he's a super Mary Sue, and everything he does is great. But so he calls Child Protective Services. He gets them to. They get.
Oh, but you see when the CPS officer comes that he's like the brother of the police
so
commissioner.
this thing is also really on the nose. That like the principal, like Phil said when he burst in, he's like, "Listen, Sherry, the principal's like, we can't accuse the police commissioner of something without evidence." And like Henry gives him like psychological profiles, like and all this stuff, and it's like you can see all this evidence. I've read all these damn brochures, Sherry, and he like throws them in her face. But like it's. Basically the premise is that he's a high up police commissioner and he's so ingrained in the system and the system's so corrupt that he can do whatever he wants. And it would be, I think, a better theme if it wasn't so on the nose that like he calls CPS, the CPS guy comes, and then he looks at the back of the brochure and it's like the CPS head is Christina's dad's brother, and it's like dun dun, and it's like you're so brilliant, but you didn't like read the name under the phone number. I don't know. So then the middle happens, and basically what happens is Henry gets really.
This is the second plot. Yeah, third plot.
Yeah, so this is now when the third plot comes in, and Henry he takes medicine throughout the whole movie, and at first I thought he was taking just like sleeping pills because he's like a grizzled, gritty old man, even though he's 11. But he actually has a brain tumor, and he has a violent seizure. He gets taken to the hospital, and he basically is like trying to get his mom's affairs in order. And she's like,
wait. First of all, when he comes out of the seizure, he diagnoses himself.
Yes.
Perfectly.
Yes,
Perfectly. He's like, come on, don't give that to me, doctor.
Give it to me
Tell what
straight,
it is.
doc.
Give it to me straight. Yeah.
How long do I got?
Literally, a neurosurgeon comes up to him and he's like, "You've got a boo-boo in your head," and he's like, "I've got this type of tumor, and I know it's spreading at this rate, and there's no treatment that can, whatever. How about you try this?"
I know every medicine is doc. I know you can't treat me.
So
Fuck you.
this is absolutely ridiculous.
But he couldn't figure it out beforehand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he couldn't figure
exactly.
it out when he was having the headaches. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he starts seizing again, and it's very serious. And at this point, I'm like, are they gonna kill this kid? I cannot believe they're gonna kill this kid. And then he he goes to the window.
So Ryan was already like, you're already going too far, movie at this point. So.
Yeah. So he reaches for the window and he lets the sun shine on him one more time as he dies in his mom's arms. To be completely honest, for this and the next 5 to 10 minutes, I really cried like a baby.
Really?
Yeah, I really
I honestly
did.
teared up a
I
little
was I was okay here, but when all the stuff with his little brother, where his little brother's just sitting outside by himself,
Yeah, that was actually pretty touching.
and
The
then
little brother.
and then the little brother's just going through the rest of his life. It just has him day by day, and it's kind of like a quick montage of going over the next couple months. And I don't know, any regular listener to podcasts I've been on knows that I love my little brother a lot. And seeing him it really messed me up. And especially there's a scene where the mom is just making 1,000 brownies and cakes, and he's like, "Mom, you have to get over this. Henry would hate this." And she's like, "What would Henry know? Well, Henry's gone. And then he's like, "No, we need to be better for Henry." And I was just a mess. And this arc kind of gets wrapped up a little bit where basically the surgeon that performed the surgery on Henry kind of comes and just wants to see how the family's doing and wants to see how how Henry's mom is doing. And he kind of gives the son his card, and he's like, "Anytime you need to talk, please talk to me." And that's when the son is like, "I think I should have been the one to die. Henry was adding something to this world, and I wasn't. I was just his sidekick." And it's I was how like everybody hates this movie. Why does everybody hate this movie? This is like so impactful for me. I'm like, I really, because I was talking to some people while I was watching it. I was like, I think I love this movie, and I think Sly wanted me to hate it. So I'm like really confused. But
wait. Sly wants you to hate everything.
So like at this point, I was full on board, and this is kind of when like the movie shifts.
Yeah. So first, let's touch base with everyone. How is everyone else feeling during this movie? Krista, what were your thoughts at this point?
At this point, I was upset for the little brother. I really was. Like, he honestly was my favorite character throughout the whole thing.
And he's got these big glasses. Oh.
Yeah, he's just so dorky looking, and everyone makes fun of him, and you just really feel for him. And he was honestly like the only character I believed. Like, I know Ryan keeps saying he loves these characters and everything, but
he's wrong.
Ryan's an
you
idiot,
should be
right?
wrong. You should feel bad about how wrong you are. No, but he, like, the mom, I don't know, she like comes home and she plays video games, but like she's I don't know. It was
she comes home, plays video games and drinks. The Henry was just like, oh yeah, I solved the world hunger, but like I still go to school every day. And, like,
yeah, that's like when I say like I like these characters a lot. I mean like when I ignore the ridiculous plot aspects of it, like I actually found their relationships endearing. And I think the little brother is kind of like, to me, the glue that holds it together. And without him, it would not work whatsoever.
Yeah, that's the thing is what we were talking about. Is like the only part that we liked was the little brother who made it go forward. Even Dr. Dad was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Dr. Dad.
That's his name.
I'm your new Dr. Dad.
There's a scene I forgot to mention that I think becomes important, kind of, where it's Henry and the brother have like this big fight, and it's the only time we see Henry as a kid, where he like sets up like a goof like rock climbing scenario where he basically sets up a big fan and like blows fake snow everywhere and takes plungers and like pretends to climb along the floor like as if he's climbing up a mountain. And it's the first time like, and he makes his little brother laugh, and it's the only time in the movie we really see like their relationship as kids and not as like almost like a father-son kind of thing. And it's like the little brother grounds this whole movie to me in a way that like I was hoping the rest of the movie would continue on, but it very much doesn't.
No.
So, Phil.
So,
what were your thoughts at this point?
I really dislike this movie a lot at this point. I honestly,
I know you.
Honestly, like I said before, I really can't stomach the super genius that is right at every turn. Because then I feel like, why am I even watching this? It's just like the writer jerking off, and
you also always say it feels like cheating, especially when we point out stuff like he knew all about the tumor except before he had it.
Well, it's like as soon as he has it, he's like, of course, I should have calculated that shit. Like, it's like the one thing, whatever. It just feels like...
The genius is always ignored whenever it's convenient for a plot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Even as someone who liked it at this point, I totally agree.
Yeah, and I didn't like a lot of the characters. I agree the little brother relationship was good, but like the mom, like you said, just played Gears of War all day, and the Sarah Silverman scenes were so weird. It's just like she's getting drunk, and then the mom's like, "You weren't at work. Where were you?" Because they're coworkers, and she's like, "I'm drunk," and she's like, "Drink with me," and the mom's like, "I shouldn't. I have the kids here," and she's like, "I'll just get drunk," and then that's the scene.
Excuse me, that's kind of exactly what it was like in college to live with Phil.
Okay, but I'm not raising like, children.
Phil, what are you doing? Are you just drunk? And you're like, yeah, and then everyone's drunk all of a sudden.
Okay, but I'm not driving around with my children.
That's true. I mean, she's obviously an alcoholic.
The plot never goes anywhere, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
That's very true.
When I was watching them, I'm like, so what is the point of Sarah Silverman? And she's like, she's always like having this relationship with Henry too, which is like almost like if he was older, I'd be like, she's flirting with him.
Yeah, I did keep thinking like, is she gonna try to fuck Henry?
That's what I thought too. I'm like, before he dies,
even without him being older.
Yeah,
she
was still flirting with him.
You know, Krista really raises a valid point that a lot of, not that this would make it weird, but a lot of the weird stuff would be a little less weird if he was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
Because then like maybe like this alcoholic like going nowhere waitress plot, her hitting on a 16-year-old is weird and sad, but it's not as terrible as this 11-year-old.
Especially because she curses at him too. She's like, "Come on, you little bastard," and he's like, "Oh, you dumbass," whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's really weird. And
also, she mentioned that they make out.
Oh, yeah,
that does happen.
Do kiss.
She does kiss him before he dies, which is very weird.
I thought she was gonna bone him. Like, you're not gonna die a virgin.
Right? at 11 years old.
And even then, like, him taking on the burden of financially managing the family makes so much more sense for a 15 or 16-year-old, because that happens in the real life, in the real world all the time.
Yeah, it does.
In the real life.
Okay, so I'm fucking hating this movie at this point. I'm really, honestly, I'm pretty bored by it. I respected that they had the balls to kill Henry, but at the same time, when we were kind of figuring out what was going to happen, we were suspecting that one of the kids was going to die.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like too shocked by this, but I'm like, okay, that's pretty dark, and the relationship with the brother was pretty good. I agree with you guys that the scenes of him like mourning was really sad and coming to terms with the loss. That was good. But
at this point, I paused and I was like, "There's an hour left in this movie?"
Yeah, so I was watching this with Chrissy, and we were both saying like, "How are we only halfway done?" Like, and then, so as we start watching, there's also one hint before he dies where he tells the little brother, "Take this notebook, and when I'm gone, you have to give this to Mom." And he was also recording stuff about Christina's child abuse in there.
Yeah.
So we were wondering, I'm like, is he gonna pass down like his wanting to save Christina to the mom? And so after Henry's gone, Susan, the mom, starts to read the notebook. And there's actually a cassette tape where she puts on headphones, and Henry basically is like, "Hey, Mom, like, you know, I'm gone." He already recorded like hours and hours.
But he's so smart that when she mutters things to herself, he responds because he knows exactly what she's going to say.
All according to Kikaku.
Yeah. And so at this point, we're like... we were really like, we both disliked this movie at this point, and we're like, the only way this could really become enjoyable is if like this goes just completely crazy. Like, if you guys have listened to our other podcasts, Divisive Issues in particular, like how Daryl doesn't like bad things until they're really bad. Like, sometimes I was
bad is good, basically.
I was kind of feeling that about this. I'm like, the only way this could be cool is if like all of a sudden the mom starts to like try to kill the neighbor or something and save the girl. And then as it goes on, we start listening to the cassette tape, and Henry's like, "I'm gonna need you to do this, Mom." Oh, this is something we should have said before too, but when Henry was still alive, he was casing a gun shop.
But they don't,
Yeah.
like, it's so out of nowhere, and they don't mention it for another, like, half hour. So, like,
Yeah.
he'll find out the secret code words you could buy guns illegally, and then, then he has a seizure, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's a weird thing he did that isn't gonna come up again.
But that was in my mind where I'm like, what if this movie went really crazy and all of a sudden, you know...
So Phil has the movie's number, apparently.
I wanted
So
to.
it almost becomes like a heist film.
Yeah, I wanted it to become that, and it started to become that. And the mom is listening to the tapes, and Henry's like, "All right, Mom, I'm going to need you to walk into this gun shop and ask for Jose. And you're going to need to say the code word and throw down this money. You have to take out money from different ATMs. Go to this one, and this one, and take out $100. And like Ryan said, as she says, like, "That's impossible to do," he's like, "I know you're saying that's impossible to do." But, like, or, like, even things not even that she's saying. It's like, you're probably walking next to this sign right now. And at this sign, you'll notice, like, literally guideposts for...
It's
He
so
narrates
dumb.
Like she's like, "Go to your left," and then waits a second, your other left, and she turns around.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, good.
Like, this would work if this was like a cartoon or like an
Yeah.
episode of The Simpsons or something.
If this movie took itself more silly, like it went for that,
Yeah.
it would work perfectly. And everyone would be like, "Yeah, great, cool, super smart kid from Dead."
Yeah.
So at first, when she figures out the child abuse, she doesn't go completely to the extreme, and she's like, "I'll just call social services or something."
You're probably
But, like-
thinking you should call social services. I've already done that, and it doesn't work
Yeah.
for these reasons.
Like Henry, that fails, and she's motivated because one night she sees the police commissioner in Christina's room and is like, "Oh my god, maybe he is abusing
We
her."
basically see almost the exact same scene than when Henry saw.
Where nothing happens. It was never like
We never saw
never
anything.
confirmed for us.
Yeah, the movie doesn't want to show us the child get abused, but we will watch an 11-year-old boy seized to death. Like, we see that happens on screen. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's weird.
And basically, the rest of this movie goes... This is actually where I started to like the movie, where it goes completely off the rails, and it starts to become her, the mom, following Henry's instructions of how to carry out the assassination of the police commissioner and cover her tracks to not get caught. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's really crazy. Like, he's like, "You're going to have to buy a sniper rifle with a silencer. You're going to have to set up... you're going to have to lure him out into this... clearing and kill him here. You're gonna have to hide the body this way, and it goes really crazy really quickly.
Not only that, but there's also a plot in the background where she is gaining custody of Christina if he dies.
Oh, yeah.
Because she forges all the paperwork by getting him to sign something, the permission slip for her to go to the talent show with her, and then like they have the witness that they forged the signature of this old woman who died like 2 months ago that Henry got her signature for. Like, it's bonkers.
He has already planned how to forge all this paperwork and get him to sign it, so that if somehow he dies, custody will transfer to her. Yeah.
All right, so Phil was down for this twist.
I loved it.
Brian, what were your thoughts?
I'm not gonna lie, I started to really enjoy it for different reasons. Where at the first part, I was like, I want to see these characters interact, and like, I'll deal with this stupid plot, whatever. But now I'm like, okay, now that all the like emotional stuff is out of the way, let's kill this guy. So like, I understand that these two sides of the movie are incongruous, and both are stronger than, like, the parts are stronger than the whole. But like, I was kind of with Phil, where I was like, okay, I'll go along with this ride.
Kevin, what are your thoughts?
I was laughing my ass off at this point. I was like, just fucking do it. Yeah, whatever. Just go with it. Like, why not?
Yeah.
We also thought that it wasn't going to be the mother doing this. We thought it was going to be a time skip and then Pete taking over for this.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Coming of age story.
So then,
coming of age and murdering.
Yeah, this whole time we were like, okay, we want Pete to actually win. And like when Pete, it didn't time skip and she started doing it, we're like, okay, well, Dr. Dad's going to have to do something, right? Like, they wouldn't introduce him and have him just, like, randomly show up at the fucking house to, like, just be like, oh, no, he's a side character. They're like, very clearly, this is a doctor who probably wants a little bit more than doctor stuff. They were, like, hugging and they were talking about stuff. He comes and visits and, like...
But it never goes anywhere.
Yeah.
No. Spoilers.
Like a lot of things in this movie.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Krista, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we were just laughing, like, oh my gosh, why is she all of a sudden so competent, too? Like, she goes into the gun shop and, like, talks to that guy like she knows what she's talking about.
Also, for the record, the doctor is played by Lee Pace, who's, like, a
Yeah.
pretty reputable actor, and he's in a lot of stuff, and, like, oh, he'll be in this, like, weird role for a little while.
Randomly showing up for, like, the talent show that Christina's, like...
Yeah.
Well, like I said, Sarah Silverman doesn't do anything either.
And
like,
Bobby Moynihan is their boss. Like, there's people in this movie. This is a cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem that we saw of it was that they put all of the money and time and effort into getting these awesome actors, and they all did a great job. And then they were just like, what about the script? We'll come together. We have, like, all these stars here.
Yeah.
No, I think the script was great for what it was, which is a first draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how does it end, Krista?
All right, so the mom gets all this stuff together, and she basically sets up her sniper rifle in their
literally
weird. What was the tree
It's
fort?
a fucking tree house.
Where is that?
It's like out in the woods.
But like I feel like the only time we ever saw like where it could possibly be was like at the end when the guy was walking towards it. And then I was like, oh, this is like actually in their backyard, not like just some faraway place. But I still don't get it because there was a bridge. Like,
it's weird. So
Yeah,
she
it's
like
really
whistles to lure him, but she's
Yeah.
like really far away, and I don't know why he would follow like a whistle into the woods.
Oh, yeah, because police commissioner. But also remember that all this is happening during the talent show because she dropped off
Right.
everyone at the talent
That's her
show.
alibi.
Yeah, Dr. Dad
Yeah.
shows up. You got the beaten girl there. And then, like, all this stuff's happening. She's like, I'm going to quickly drive away. And, like, Henry's, like, commenting on her driving. And, like, the shot's getting taken. And Krista, you up again.
yeah, so then she's like right there lining up a shot. And I think, so the picture thing, that was Peter who made that, right?
Yes.
So the little brother sets up his own Rube Goldberg machine that right before she takes the kill shot.
She like sees this picture and she's like, right, because love rules all. I have to leave this undone. I can't shoot him. And then
I actually to defend this movie a little bit, I do get what they were trying to go for thematically, because his mom is a mess. She can't do anything right, and she's grieving for her son. So like she's using this weird murder revenge scheme to listen to his voice and keep herself busy while she's grieving. And this is a moment when she realizes that even though Henry was really smart and all this stuff, he was still a fucking little baby, and I have to be adult and not murder people.
Yeah.
Yeah, thematically it makes sense on paper, but like,
Yeah.
and, can you guys just imagine for a second a world where she hears this tape and is like, that's ridiculous, I'm not gonna kill somebody, and then listens to the whole thing of him giving these specific directions as she doesn't do those things?
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
And she's like, "Aw, Henry."
It's even to the point like he narrates to the point where he's like, all right, you have him in your sights. Now breathe slowly. You're gonna have to the recoil, like literally, like to.
And he says like, "Nice shot, mom." And then because he also talks her through gun training. He talks her through the whole alibi thing, but then in a really weird twist here, because I'm like, I can kind of get that. Like, I did want her to kill the police commissioner. I'm like, just become Punisher. This movie should just become the Punisher, like whatever. But like, it didn't, and I get that. But then, really strangely, in the middle of the woods, she comes out and confronts him and basically says to the police commissioner, again, they're in the dark, in the woods, I know you're beating your daughter. I'm going to expose you to the world. There's nothing you can do about it. He has a gun out, too, because I guess he assumed there was a trespasser on his property. And
whistling.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do.
Yeah. And basically, he's like, well, I'm the police commissioner. You don't have proof.
And
whatever.
you also have this illegal sniper rifle that you're just like aiming at people.
You just have that.
Aiming at me.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, so like I was like, this is just. I know she's always portrayed as incompetent, but this seems like a stretch. Like if you like, this is like I don't value my life at all.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna.
She gets really lucky. Like the plot conveniently works, so her tactics play out.
Yeah, because
properly.
here I think in a realistic setting where this guy's like, I'm gonna go to jail for the rest of my life if she exposes me, he would kill her here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he doesn't, and
Also, this spot is designed as a place you can kill someone and get away with it by Henry.
Yeah.
and what's crazy here is like Sly said, this is my big complaint at the end of the movie is her actions actually have nothing to do with the plot because she decides not to do it.
Wait, hold on.
Luckily,
I want Krista to tell us all about this talent show.
Yeah.
Yes,
What happens at the end?
So while she's setting up her shot, the girl, Christina, who is the weakest character that I've ever seen.
Yes.
Because she says
almost nothing about the
she
movie,
says
by the way.
nothing.
She has like the main focus of the plot. She says nothing.
Yeah. And she's dancing, and I guess it was a really sad dance because it convinced the principal to call the cops. I guess. I don't know. Because when she said, I don't have any proof to Henry, you believe her because she's an adult. And now you still don't have any proof.
No, but now she knows. She
now
watches that dance and she's like, oh, that kid is abused.
Oh, that's so sad.
See, I took it as I was like, is this supposed to be like maybe because she's in a ballerina outfit? Maybe this would make more sense if she like had bruises on her back.
Yes,
Exactly.
But like, if she does, it is not clear from this sad interpretive dance that she does.
Yeah, no.
You can just tell how sad she is by the way she moves.
Only an abused child would dance like that.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be the look in her eyes or something because she does look really fucking like.
That's what you write in a police report. She had a look in her eyes that told me she was abused as a child, so arrest her dad. And police were like, you got him. That's a perfect
There's too much. We can't bear it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then she calls the police or whoever, and then Peter was gonna go next, and he was gonna.
Wait, but hold on.
Yeah, what?
What about the phone call that Glenn makes on his way home? Because when the dad he gets the phone call that from his brother, and it's like, you've been found out, Glenn, and the
There's
vibe
too
I got
much.
was like, there's too much. This goes all the way to the top, and it's like, what? We can't cover this up anymore.
Yeah.
It's like Greg Cohen's like we mentioned. He writes Batman. Like he's writing like Commissioner Gordon dialogue.
Yeah, and he's like. This goes all the way to the top. Don't tell me she did the sad dance.
She gave him the sad eyes.
So then the part that just lost me is right here.
As soon as the mom didn't kill that guy, I was like, he's gonna kill himself. Kevin was like, no, he's not. And lo and behold, he gets this call and he's like, you know what? I can't fucking do this, and he just blows his brains out.
As the police show up,
As the police show up.
Very conveniently, make it very clean plot for everyone else.
Yeah.
and like you guys were saying, like this is all happening while Peter, the younger brother, is doing his magician show.
Yes,
Oh
when
my
he's
God.
and this part actually pissed me off because I love Pete the entire time, and he goes, "I'm gonna bring back my brother," and it was like, okay.
And that's
like,
when
you know,
Dr. Dad looks back for the mom, like, where
Yeah.
are you? You need to be here.
Dr. Dad's
This
like,
is like a fucked up thing that he's
This
saying.
is bad.
But then like,
What did you guys think was gonna happen? By the way,
I had no idea.
I had no idea.
He's actually the new Frankenstein. Henry comes
So yeah,
reaching out of the box.
Peter comes out with his like magician, like it's like a little kid magician set. He's like got a wand, he's got like the white gloves and the black cape, and he has a trunk, and he's like, I'm gonna make my brother come back from the dead.
and now
Yeah.
this part could have been done perfectly. Like they had everything. If they had set things up, this could have been done great. Because then he taps the thing. Is like, my brother's gonna return. Oh, you know, suspense is high. It's not opening. So he kicks it and it opens, and out comes that confetti stuff that his brother used for that, you know, that one, what Ryan was saying, the one time that he was being a kid, that stuff comes out. But, like, that happened once in Peter's hallway that no one else saw. Like, if there was, like, a thing that, like, Henry's, like, MO was, like, when he'd, like, be pissed about something, he'd, like, throw up confetti and be like, this is ridiculous. Like, that would have been awesome, because it'd be like, yes, the confetti returns.
Or you make it where his mom is really emotionally affected by this and nobody else gets it, and it's a quiet moment where everybody else is like,
Yes.
this is really weird, but it shows that the mom is ready to be there for Peter instead of, you know, like going on these
Murdering
instead
people.
of murder, or instead of just always focusing on Henry. Even though Henry's dead, this movie's still all about Henry, and Peter is completely neglected the whole time. Having this be a moment where she realizes that it's time for me to give a shit about my living son, instead, confetti comes out, somehow fills the whole auditorium like it's snowing, and he gets a standing ovation. What? That makes no fucking sense.
None of it. Like, at that point, I was like, dear God. And, like, looking at Dr. Dad, who's just, like, there. And, like, as we were saying, like, he's an important person. He's a very attractive man. And, like, he's just kind of like, I'm here to look at this. And even he was like, yes, this is good. It's like, how is this good?
And everybody loves it. Like, this isn't what magic is.
I see through the tricks. You don't fool me.
There's a jet in there.
So what's the final note this movie ends on?
The actual final plot point is like, oh, now Christina's saved, and Susan, now since she forged all that fucking paperwork with Henry's help, can legally adopt Christina. And she's like, I'm gonna go do something better with my life. I'm gonna go write my children's books, like Henry would want.
First of all, in the last scene where so Peter and Christina are in the same room, I was like, wait, that can't happen.
Boner time.
And then they were like, oh, when your room gets completed, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Like, that was the only issue I
When
had.
it's going up.
Oh, yeah,
But-
and also, yeah, when she moves in with them, she, like, takes over Henry's bed, and she's, like, super happy, and, like,
No,
even
they
if-
switch.
No.
They switch.
Peter takes Henry's
Oh,
bed.
no, you're right,
Yeah,
But she's in
yeah.
the room. She's in the room with him, and, like, she's super happy about it, and for me, like, I understand she's out of this abusive, like, relationship and stuff with her father, and, like, she's finally, like, free of it, but she's, like, pretty totally cool with the fact that her dad just, like, shot himself in the head.
I think it's her stepdad who,
Yeah,
like,
it's her,
we
but
don't know
still,
how long
like,
was in the
that's
picture.
pretty traumatic.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I was really annoyed at this end because, like I said before, if the mom didn't exist, like, the plot would have been almost the same. Like,
Yeah.
the principal still would have realized.
But she wouldn't have been able to adopt the daughter.
Okay, but the most of the 45 minutes we watch her prepare is not the paperwork
Yeah,
part.
I know.
It's her getting the gun, training with the gun, setting up her murder shack in the woods, getting ready to dump the evidence.
It's also especially stupid because she's the main character, and also she is the emotional. Her journey to get over Henry and learn to take care of her other son is what's supposed to be the main emotional plot of the
Yeah,
story.
and she's
but,
also
like,
Naomi Watts, and she's acting her
Yeah.
ass off, and like is great in this movie for this bizarre thing.
She did a really good job.
It's just weird when a movie or anything, when a story like would have happened without any of the characters being there. For me, I'm like, then what's the point of me watching this? Like,
Yeah.
It's not like she's like observing like it's not like Cloverfield where she's observing like an event.
yeah, she's doing things the whole time that we're watching, but none of those things matter.
Or even like the
Yeah.
first Indiana Jones, the plot would go exactly the same way whether he was in it or not, but it's like still kind of campy and fun to go on this adventure with him that it doesn't like you kind of forgive it for that. Where
Yeah.
like here, it's just like I'm crying and now I'm laughing at how stupid this movie is.
Something I forgot to mention before that, because when I was saying I was hoping it would be this murder story, and like you were saying you got the number. Part of what tipped me off to it was, if you remember from 30 minutes ago when we were thinking what the movie was going to be about, and the tagline of the movie was "Never leave things undone" or whatever.
Never leave murder undone.
The whole time, me and Chris, you were like, "This is going to be a murder plot. Never leave things undone," and we were joking because it's like, "Never leave this guy unkilled." but it really the tagline did like that's what they were implying, that Henry couldn't finish the work of exposing the police commissioner, and so the mom has to kill him instead. And that, I think, that tagline really is great and also awful.
I just wanted to add one more thing. So the two things that I would have changed in this movie is that Henry would have been 15 at least.
Yes.
And the mom would have been an aunt that was forced to take custody of the kids after their mom died, because then it would have made sense that she doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, Phil, you didn't even like it, and it's so bad it's good way.
No, if she would have killed him and buried the body and come back to the talent show and been like, I made a man disappear tonight, that would have been like, okay, that's cool. But
I have never seen a movie like this. I would not say it's a good movie, but I think everybody should see it, because I was like, this is a roller coaster of a film.
What about you, Krista?
I would not recommend this to anyone, honestly.
even like I was like, oh, this is so bizarre, you have to see it. Like,
I would watch it with my brother just to see his reaction on it, but it's mostly for the giggles.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
do you think people should see just for the giggles?
Yeah.
Like, it's because there's some movies that are bad, but they're just boring bad. Well, do you think this one's interesting enough to be bad? Like, interesting bad?
I guess Ryan's right. It was a roller coaster, and it was definitely like, I liked how we were like taking bets on like, okay, well, in the next scene, I thought the way that it was going to end was Mom was going to kill the police commissioner, and then she was going to panic and show back up at the talent show and get the kids in the car, and Dr. Dad was going to be like, I know what you did, but it's okay. We're going to go off together and like go to Canada or something.
I'm complicit in murder now.
For speculation, it was fun.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, do you echo Krista's sentiments, or
But I mean, the thing is, if they had taken this movie and cut the time in half and just had it been like, here's a bunch of bits that don't really make, because like the whole thing doesn't make sense together anyway. So if you made it in bits together that didn't make any sense, it could have been.
You mean even worse? It would have been better.
It would have been like, because it would
like
have been like
vignettes about their lives. That's like, he's really smart. Up now they're murdering somebody.
Yeah. Because like for the first like more than an hour up until like Henry's death, like I didn't care about any single character other than like, Pete's cute. Like that was it. And then like after he died, it was still like, as everything was progressing, it was still like, wow, Pete's all right. The rest of them, I mean, they're there, I guess. But
yeah.
So before we wrap up, I do want to go back to our predictions and point out which ones were right, which ones were wrong. So Krista, you first predicted that Henry's book was about a dog who writes a diary.
There was not even one dog in this whole movie,
No dogs.
and I was so sad.
we checked.
Yeah. So you said it's a kid who journeys on his own in a survival helicopter story, which did not
There
really
was
happen.
Oh yeah, that
helicopter.
fucking pilot helmet he has that
Yeah.
he wears like once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that scene, if they had done more scenes like that and had it been like that was kind of his MO, then like that whole last magician scene would have made sense. Just
Yeah.
saying.
You were right by one. You were right by one thing, Krista.
I was?
Everyone's eyes were super blue.
Yeah, because I don't know why. That guy really likes those blue eyes.
I love him.
Your final guess was, by the way, Dean Norris is a bad guy, but you guess he's a bad guy because he tells the kids that can't happen. You did not suspect he was an abusive cop,
Oh yeah.
corrupt cop.
Yeah. Sort of right.
So
Close.
so Phil, you predicted there was time travel, which there was not. You
Damn.
predicted he becomes his own sister in another dimension, which he does not.
Damn.
It's a shame.
You were convinced this was 10 years old, which plot twist, this script was actually written 20 years ago. So
Oh, wow.
this script was sitting around for 20
Yeah,
years.
you tell me there's no time travel? How about that?
Yeah, so you were right. You see, ultimate twist. And you were right that it's not good. So
And
you wrote it
I
out.
do remember thinking that Glenn was
Yeah,
gonna
Dean
be
Norris's character.
was gonna be bad. I do remember thinking clearly like
Yeah, you did get that too. You were the first one to get that. So
Yeah. Give me some points.
Yeah, did we win?
Yeah.
Is this like a contest?
Yeah, you should be awarding us points.
I'm going to say I'm going to say a little bit when the words, but at the end.
Okay.
So, Ryan, you predicted the girl invents a time travel machine and dies, leaving the books for the others. So you kind of inverted in your way. You predicted the girl's definitely dead. Like, there's no way she's alive. So you converted that as well. And you predict this movie is probably really sexist.
Which it was.
I don't know. Was it?
The only three female characters were all useless.
Yeah.
But
Ex-
so
yeah.
were most of the males. Like
No,
Lee Pace was useless.
Henry was a god. Peter was cute, and then like Dr. Dad. I mean,
He's useless.
He had
He
those-
didn't do anything.
But his cheekbones.
I'd say the only characters that have any agency are
Henry and Glenn.
Henry and Glenn.
Yeah. The girl, the daughter has no lines.
The daughter is. I totally agree with Krista. That is one of the weakest characters I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Naomi Watts is like helpless without her male son helping
That's
her.
true.
And
That's true.
Sarah Silverman is only there to bone Henry and be drunk.
But the thing is, like, I feel like the Sarah Silverman character and the Naomi Watts character, I feel like they don't fall into a lot of sexist tropes I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not saying that they're strong feminist icons, but, like, I don't know if I would say it's a sexist movie as much as it is, like, an unfleshed out movie.
Yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
fair.
I agree, but I do think the bullshit daughter has so few
Yeah,
lines.
no, absolutely.
Especially when she's like the main focal point.
I don't think there's any kind of like gender bias. I think it's like there's just they only wanted to make Henry a character. Everyone else is useless, and therefore most females in the movie are useless.
But
Yeah.
at the same time,
I
though,
agree
I
with
will
that.
say with Christina, not only is she super, like, quiet and passive, but she also is, repeatedly played up as, like, Henry's love interest. And, like, oh, my future daughter-in-law. So, like, I guess that's not sexualizing, but it's certainly keeping her as, like, a relationship reward for him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it
Yeah.
is a little sexist.
That's
Yeah,
like
the
the
whole-
only reason she's important to him.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, get her as your sister so you could bone your sister, and it's
Yeah.
not blood related, so everything's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So the winner of our little competition, which I'm not making competition retroactively, is Kevin. He kind of had his movie's number. First, he said, when I said, what's the Book of Henry about? You said, this is like a Shawshank Redemption type of tone about a guy writing about his life. Which is kind of
Okay.
accurate.
Yeah, that is pretty true.
He just is a kid, an inventor proving he can. He's an inventor, but it's not about him proving he can, but he's an inventor.
He's proving he can kill somebody and get away with
Yeah.
it.
From the grave.
Yeah, while dead,
Yeah.
he can guide someone through the perfect crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. he did predict this was Sarah Silverman's attempt at a serious performance, which it was. This is Sarah Silverman playing against type. And he predicted this movie sucks because they tried to throw in too many things, which ding ding
Kevin,
ding.
you-
Kevin
wow.
Lee's
Crushed
Yeah.
Kevin President.
Kevin wins.
Yeah.
Fun screen.
Also, guys, Lee Pace is way taller than Dr. Dad. Like,
He's huge.
Okay, because in Pushing Daisies, he's not portrayed as that tall in that movie
No.
or in that whole show. Like the 2 seasons of that show, and then I saw him here. I'm like, is he like 7 foot tall?
I think he is or something like that. It's pretty close.
It's
to
pretty
it.
crazy.
He's in
Yeah.
The Hobbit too. He's the Elven King, and like that was because we looked him up because I was like, I know him from something, and I knew him from Pushing Daisies, but we saw him in there. We're like, what?
The weird Elven King.
Dr.
You know, this
Dad!
might be a hot take. This might not be PC. I think he's a good-looking man.
Yeah,
He's pretty
definitely.
He is.
I know, he's hot.
He
Those-
deserves
why-
better roles than this.
That's
so
why
does
we thought
everyone
he was
else.
going to be like more of
Yeah.
a thing. Great actor, very attractive. We're like, I mean, he's got to be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty used. I actually kind of thought what Krista was saying before that he was gonna somehow fuck up the mom's plans. Like everything Henry had planned out, he didn't plan to have Dr. Dad there.
Right.
But she gave him the slip at the talent show, and then nothing came of it. So
Mhm.
Damn shame.
I'll also say that ending would have been better.
Yep.
Yeah,
So.
I think so too.
So that's been our first attempt at this show, judging by its cover. Hope you all had a good time. Hope you all have fun guessing along with us.
Certainly. Thanks for having me.
yeah, I would
thank
not
you.
watch that again. So thanks.
I'm assuming none of you will watch that again, so or be on the show again.
Next time we'll do it even sooner after the show, like as the show is finishing, then we'll start instead of waiting a month. I mean, a second for us to walk out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So thank you all for listening, and that's been judging by its cover. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
You need a sign-off line, Sly.
Don't judge our show by its cover. It's way better than you think it is.